Right. Right வந்து actually நான் போட மாட்டேன். Battery இருக்காங்க. போதுமா? கனெக்ட் ஆகி வரும். ஸ்லைட் ஓபன் பண்ணி போறீங்களா போர்டு தான்? ஸ்லைட் சும்மா காமிச்சிட்டு அப்புறம் போர்டு போடுவேன். அந்த இது மேக்ஸ் போர்டு இது இருக்கட்டும். இப்போ இது என்ன இதுவா? சரி ஓகே. ஆமா. Fine. So, okay, in today's 5 editorials, so we'll see what are the themes, like என்ன topics எந்த இதுல இருந்து discuss பண்ண போறோம் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா, first is about whether India should have death penalty crisis. I mean death penalty. We avoid capital punishment in our country for certain crimes. Okay, so many countries of the world have abolished it. So whether அது இருக்கணுமா இருக்கக்கூடாதா அப்படின்னு சொல்லி there's a debate over it. So we'll be exploring a little bit in that angle. So this is actually important from GS2 perspective, judiciary topic. Okay, and after that, next is about Bangalore city. Bangalore, the IT capital of India, is actually facing a lot of water scarcity. And okay, the fan off. Okay, so Bangalore, the IT capital of India, is facing water scarcity. So many urban cities, urban centers of India, they're facing problems like flood and drought, such natural calamities. So now water crisis is something which we are going to discuss. Okay, and this is important from your GS1 perspective. Urbanization is a topic which is relevant for geography and society. So எதுல இருந்தாலும் question கேட்கலாம். So on the paper is important. Okay, and there was a judgment recently by Supreme Court on whether the legislators taking bribes should be given immunity. Okay, so அது வந்து immunity கிடையாது அப்படின்னு சொல்லி ஒரு verdict வந்துருந்துச்சு. So எந்த contextல bribe வாங்குறாங்க, what is this immunity all about, why did Supreme Court cancel the immunity? We'll be seeing that. So this is related to your topic called as judiciary and parliament and state legislatures. So GS2 related. And this one is about, yes, this one is about critical minerals. So critical minerals அப்படின்ற ஒரு aspect இருக்கு. We are making a lot of electronics, renewable power, defense equipment, aerospace equipments இதெல்லாம். So in all of these critical minerals or usage வந்து ரொம்ப ஜாஸ்தி. So ஒவ்வொரு countryக்கு in the, various they will designate some elements as critical minerals, and it is very important from economic and strategic perspective. So we'll be exploring that topic a little bit. So இது வந்து geography point of view லயும் இந்த question கேட்கலாம். Because of resources, if you look at it as resources, it can be asked like that. Or if you look at it from security angle and economy perspective, you can put it in GS3 also. So this topic will have relevance in 2 papers. And this one, the next last one is regarding Lancet report. There was a Lancet ங்கிறது வந்து ஒரு international organization, and they do health studies globally. So peopleோட health எப்படி இருக்கு அப்படிங்கறத monitor பண்ணி study பண்ணி they make some reports and findings, and they publish those reports. So அது அந்த report படி according to that report, a lot of children in India have grown obese. So obesity வந்து is becoming an epidemic in India, like that report is signaling. So we will be seeing why this is happening and why this can be a problem for India and what can be done to address it. Okay, so this is from GS1 society sections. Okay, so since it's talking about women, children, and different people, GS1 perspective la idu sollalam, or GS2 topics like health, development, education. So on the we can put it in GS2 or GS1. Okay. So this is about it. Now we'll start. Okay. So death penalty is also called as capital. Okay. So இது வந்து it is the most extreme form of punishment. ஒரு மிஸ்டேக்குக்கு மேக்ஸிமம் கொடுக்க முடியற பனிஷ்மெண்ட் வந்து இதுதான். அதாவது அந்த ஆளோட லைஃபே எடுத்துடுறது. So because it is so extreme and all that, many countries in the world have actually repelled it. நிறைய கண்ட்ரீஸ்ல கிடையாது, but in India it's there. And so let's actually get an intro into the topic. So as of 2023, if you see, $561 prisoners on. Okay, so 2023 end la pata, India has 561 prisoners on death row. Okay, and apart from that, in 2023, 15% of so Supreme Court வந்து 2023ல ஒரு 55% death sentences வந்து அவங்க வந்து கிரைமே செய்யல அப்படின்னு சொல்லி acquitted பண்ணிட்டாங்க. They've been totally acquitted, means they are not even guilty. So they've been released. So this is a matter of concern. அதாவது lower courts, your trial courts, high courts, they are awarding death sentence to a person, but Supreme Court goes ahead and says that this person has not even done any crime and releasing. So அந்த அளவுக்கு ஒரு it's such a serious problem. You are sentencing to death, the judiciary sentencing to death, but the highest court says இல்ல அந்த மாதிரி எந்த தப்பும் நடக்கல, so they have to be released அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. And a study called as death penalty report published in 2016 says that majority death sentences are commuted. So majority cases la death sentences enna aguduna, they are commuted, that is reduced to life Okay, so most of the times death sentence வந்து commuted to life imprisonment. So why even have that death sentence அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லி that is the viewpoint. Okay, and so these are some statistics, and moving to next, can we change? Okay, in yeah, one another thing is Supreme Court decided to convene a constitutional bench. Okay, this was decided in அதாவது September 2022 ல Supreme Court decided to convene a constitutional bench to study about the need to award death penalty. So the idea was that அதாவது என்னன்னா very randomly the trial courts, high courts இவங்கெல்லாம் வந்து just like that they are giving death sentence. So Supreme Court they are looking at the issue in humanitarian grounds. So அவங்க என்ன நினைக்கிறாங்கன்னா just like that death sentence கொடுக்க கூடாது, death sentence கொடுக்கிறதுக்கும் certain guidelines have to be there. Even to the courts we have to give directions. So இந்த மாதிரினா death sentence கொடுங்க, இந்த மாதிரினா கொடுங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லி we have to set a framework for that. அதுக்காக ஒரு constitution bench வந்து convene பண்ணணும்னு in September it was decided to convene a constitutional bench in September 2022. Okay, to award death penalty, to raise the bar of death penalty. Just like that, death penalty should not be given. Some restraint should be there. Some amount of value for human life should be there. So அதுக்காக இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு decision. And these kind of setting of constitutional benches and all that, it is done under Article 145. Okay, so ஏதாவது ஒரு இஷ்யூக்கு வந்து constitutional bench Supreme Court set பண்ணுது அப்படின்னா அது வந்து Article 145 ல பண்ணுவாங்க, and that is generally a 5 judge, minimum 5 judge bench, minimum 5 judges. Okay, so this information, if at all you write in your answers, you can write Article 145 constitutional bench. And okay, can I know? So coming to this death sentence, there is always two schools of thought on this. So we have some people who are for death sentence. Okay, அதாவது death sentence support பண்ற ஒரு group இருக்கு, and இன்னொரு group வந்து against. So for group ஒன்னு இருக்கு, against group ஒன்னு இருக்கு. So what this for group says means they say that death penalty creates deterrence effect. Deterrence effect na ஒரு தப்பு பண்ணும்போது ஒரு பெரிய punishment கொடுத்தா next time அந்த தப்பை யாராவது பண்றதுக்கு யோசிப்பாங்க. It will create a fear in the minds of others. So irrespective of whether people are ethical or not, due to fear of punishment, they will not commit the crime. So that is what is called as deterrence effect. Next is called as retributive justice. Okay, retributive justice now, you are giving punishment to a person because that person deserves punishment. அவங்க வந்து இவ்வளவு பெரிய தப்பு பண்ணிட்டாங்க, அவங்களுக்கு இந்த பனிஷ்மெண்ட் கொடுத்தே தான் ஆகணும். அவங்க தப்பு பண்ணிட்டாங்க, that person அவங்களுக்கு இனிமே இறக்கம் எல்லாம் பார்க்க கூடாது. That is what is called as retributive justice. There is one another a school of justice called as reformative justice. So about this we'll talk separately. So this retributive justice, so கண்டிப்பா பனிஷ் பண்ணணும் அப்படிங்கிறதுக்காக பண்றது. So that is also in for. And next is, it is justice to the victim. So யாரு பாதிக்கப்பட்டாங்களோ அவங்களுக்கு வந்து ஒரு compensation கிடைக்கணும். That person, innocent person has been affected, so we should not let that person suffer. So due to empathy and compassion for the victim, death sentence is awarded. So that is called as justice for the victim. And against, coming to this against point, so reformative justice அப்படிங்கிறது என்னன்னா, everybody is human being. So humans are prone to making mistakes. They can commit errors. அவங்களால தப்பு பண்ண முடியும். So it is the duty of the state to reform those who are doing wrong. Okay, so யாராவது mistake பண்ணா state உடனே போய் punish பண்ணி it should not go to the highest measure of killing them. Instead, there are numerous ways to reform them. அதுதான் state பண்ணணும் அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லி. So that is in the against part. And then you can say value of, okay, so nobody is God to take away the life of others, even if it is a judge. Okay, even if he or she is a judge, அவங்களும் வந்து they don't have rights to kill. That is one school of thought. So reformative justiceங்கிறது வந்து கிரிமினலை திருத்தி அவங்கள வந்து ஒரு making that person live a, giving a new lease of life to that person. Okay, making him or her realize that whatever he or she has done is wrong. So அது தப்புன்னு அவங்க உணர்ந்து திரும்ப வாழ வைக்கிறது. So that is reformative justice. And the other one is value of human life. So just like that, we can't kill. And possibility of flaw in system. Okay, possibility of flaw in system. So we just saw that in 2023, 55% of the death, verdicts were acquitted. So Supreme Court went to the extent of acquitting. அதாவது அவங்க தப்பே செய்யல அப்படின்னு சொல்லி acquitté பண்றாங்க. So many times what happens is investigationலயோ எதுலயோ ஒரு mistake நடந்தா it is possible that an innocent person may suffer. So அவங்க தப்பே பண்ணாம that person will be proven as guilty, convicted, and that person may be hanged to death. So அது வந்து நடக்க கூடாது. Okay, so there can be a always flaw in the system. And in this you can say improper investigation, okay, manipulated evidences, forensic fake. So அந்த மாதிரி நிறைய very often those who are powerful and rich and influential, they may even try to misuse the law. So அவங்க ஒரு தப்பு பண்ணிட்டு ஒரு person from a humble background, vulnerable sections, அவங்கள வந்து frame பண்ண ட்ரை பண்ணுவாங்க. So கேஸே வந்து மாத்துற capacity கூட இருக்கு some peopleக்கு. So if that happens, somebody who is innocent is going to die. So அதுல வந்து you can say all this. Okay, yeah, can we change? And next is SC Supreme Court judgments regarding this. Okay, so in this regard, Supreme Court has made some judgments. Okay, so one judgment is Manoj versus State of Madhya Pradesh. So this judgment was in May 2022. Okay, so in this Manoj versus State of Madhya Pradesh, Supreme Court stated that, as he said, it is essential to know the before sentencing. அதாவது whoever is victim, okay, guilty or let's say convicted. So whoever is the accused in சொல்லிக்கோங்க. Okay, you can call that person as accused. So whoever is accused of the crime, or a trial court or a high court, or whoever is involved in prosecution, and the prosecution பண்ற கோர்ட்டுக்கு வந்து that court should know about this person. That court should be knowing about the accused, the person who is accused of the crime. So on the person's history, like for example, upbringing பத்தி தெரியணும். Okay, childhood பத்தி தெரியணும், mental health history, okay, அவங்களோட mental health history பத்தி தெரியணும். So all these things have to be known. Upbringing, then their socio-cultural environment, okay, in which they are living, why they are forced to do such kind of mistakes. So ஏன் இந்த மாதிரி தப்புலாம் நடக்குது. ஸோ ஒரு ட்ரையல் கோர்ட்டோ ஒரு ஹை கோர்ட்டோ ஒரு சென்டென்ஸ் கொடுக்கறதுக்கு முன்னாடி உங்களுக்கு டெத் அப்படின்ட்டு அவார்ட் பண்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி தே ஷுட் பி டூயிங் தீஸ் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் ஸ்டடிஸ். Okay, so you say in the Manoj versus State of Madhya Pradesh case, Supreme Court said that it is essential for trial courts to know the convicted, okay, know about that person before sentencing him to death. Okay, so when you knowing the person, all this, okay, and then in Jagan Mohan versus State of UP. Okay, Jagan Mohan Singh, actually Jagan Mohan Singh versus State of UP. So in the case, Supreme Court said, it said that under Article right to take away life according procedure established. So in the Manoj Singh case oda verdict எப்படின்னா it was pro convicted. Convicted வந்து just like that you cannot hang. அவங்களோட history தெரியணும், அதெல்லாம் அனலைஸ் பண்ணிட்டு தான் டெத் சென்டென்ஸ் கொடுக்கணும்னு அந்த வேர்டிக்ட்ல சொன்னாங்க. இந்த வேர்டிக்ட்ல வந்து அது வந்து இட்ஸ் a recent verdict. This is an older verdict, I think in the year 1973. So அந்த டைம்ல வந்து okay 1973ல இந்த ஜெகன் மோகன் சிங் கேஸ்ல வந்து it was remarked, the Supreme Court said that Article 21ல it is even allowed to take away life as per procedure established by law. அதாவது நம்ம லா வந்து சில என்ன சொல்றது for some offenses they give life sentence. So அது வந்து it can be done. Example வந்து if you want for this law POCSO, Protection of Children Against Sexual Offenses, this allows life imprisoned, death sentence for rape of minor. So when someone who's less than 12 years is raped, that person can be the convicted can be sentenced to death. Okay, so in the or example கொடுக்கலாம். Okay, and so this, when we are awarding death sentence according to this law, it is as per procedure established by law, because we are following the law and giving death sentence. And then next case is this Bachchan Singh versus State of Bachchan Singh versus State of Punjab. So in the case la enna sonnanga death is okay, but it has to be given in the rarest of rare cases. Rarest of rare cases. And as per the present day interpretation, it can be given for heinous crimes. Okay, ரொம்ப terrible crimes, extreme crimes, like like what to say, rape, terrorism, treason. Treason means betrayal of one's nation. Okay, so அந்த மாதிரி ரீசன்ஸ்ல கொடுக்கலாம். அவங்க வந்து rarest of rare தான் சொன்னாங்க, but now we have interpreted it as heinous crimes, and in all these are under heinous crimes. Okay, so Bachchan Singh வந்து one of the things which they stated was death penalty can be given in rarest of rare cases, and another thing they said that there should be a separate sentencing hearing. I'll tell you what this is. Sentencing hearing. There is a need for separate sentencing hearing. Okay. Can we change? So sentencing hearing அப்படிங்கிறது என்னன்னா, அதாவது கோர்ட்ல வந்து கேஸ்லாம் நடக்கும். ஸோ விக்டிம் இஸ் தேர் அண்ட் அக்யூஸ்ட் இஸ் தேர். ஸோ இப்போ விக்டிம் வந்து பாதிக்கப்பட்டிருக்காங்கன்னா போலீஸ் வந்து இன்வெஸ்டிகேட் பண்ணி அக்யூஸ்டுக்கு அகேன்ஸ்டா நிறைய எவிடன்ஸ் கொடுப்பாங்க. எவிடன்ஸ்லாம் கொடுத்தோன்னே court will study the evidence, accept the evidence, and accused will then turn into, they will give the verdict, and verdict கொடுத்த அப்புறம் accused வந்து convicted மாறி. ஸோ கன்விக்டட் மீன்ஸ் அவங்களோட மிஸ்டேக் வந்து ப்ரூவ் ஆயிடுச்சு. அக்யூஸ்டுங்கிற போது ப்ரூவ் ஆகாம இருக்கு, அதுதான். ஸோ இது வந்து கோர்ட்டோட ப்ரொசீடிங்ஸ். ஓகே, திஸ் வீக் ஆல் இஸ் ஹியரிங் ப்ரொசீடிங்ஸ் அண்ட் ஆல் தட். ஸோ திஸ் வில் கோ ஆன். பட் இப்போ வந்து எந்த டே, ஆன் த டே when the judgment is given, ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கன்விக்டட்னு சொல்லிடுவாங்க. But according to India's IPC, okay, இப்போ வந்து now it is not IPC, but according to IPC section 354(3), okay, there is a need to explain reason for. So IPC படி ஒரு கோர்ட் வந்து டெத் சென்டென்ஸ் கொடுத்தா they have to give a detailed explanation. That is one. And one another legal requirement, okay, another legal provision is that there separate sentencing hearing. So separate sentencing hearing means, அதாவது என்னைக்கு அந்த பர்சன் கன்விக்ட் ஆறாங்களோ அன்னைக்கு வந்து பனிஷ்மெண்ட் கொடுக்க மாட்டாங்க. ஸோ இப்போ ஒரு பர்சன் வந்து இஸ் அக்யூஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ரேப் மீன்ஸ் அந்த ரேபிஸ்டுக்கு வந்து ஒரு லீகல் லாயர் இருப்பாங்க, இன்னொரு விக்டம்க்கு லாயர் இருப்பாங்க. ஸோ இந்த போத் த பார்ட்டிஸ் வில் பி ஃபைட்டிங் ஃபார் தேர் சைட். ஸோ அப்படி ஃபைட் பண்ணும்போது கோர்ட்ல வந்து வேர்டிக் கொடுக்கும்போது இல்ல இவங்க வந்து அக்யூஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ரேப்னு சொல்லி கன்விக்ட் பண்ணிடுவாங்க. பட் அக்கார்டிங் டு த லீகல் ப்ரொவிஷன்ஸ் தே ஆர் நாட் சப்போஸ் டு கிவ் சென்டென்ஸ் ஆன் தட் டே. அதாவது இவங்களுக்கு 10 years ஜெயிலு, 15 years ஜெயிலு, 20 years ஜெயிலுங்கிறத அன்னைக்கு சொல்லக்கூடாது. கன்விக்டட்னு சொல்லிட்டு டு கிவ் த பனிஷ்மெண்ட் தே ஆர் சப்போஸ் டு ஹோல்ட் ஒன் another ஹியரிங். இன்னொரு நாள் திரும்ப அந்த விக்டமையும் கன்விக்டடையும் கூப்பிட்டுட்டு அப்போ வந்து திரும்ப பேசி வந்து பனிஷ்மெண்ட் டிசைட் பண்ணுவாங்க. திஸ் இஸ் வாட் இஸ் த லீகல் ரெக்வயர்மெண்ட். பட் வாட் இஸ் ஹேப்பனிங் இஸ் இன் இந்தியாஸ் ட்ரையல் கோர்ட்ஸ் அண்ட் லோவர் கோர்ட்ஸ் they are not doing a separate hearing. என்னைக்கு கன்விக்டட்னு சொல்றாங்களோ on that day itself they are giving the punishment. Convicted, this person should be sentenced to life or should be other life imprisonment or death ன்னு சொல்லி அன்னைக்கே ஜட்மெண்ட் எழுதிருக்காங்க. பட் ஆக்சுவலி there is a need for separate sentencing hearing. So sentencing hearing na punishment, what is the quantum of punishment and decide பண்றதுக்கு ஒரு தனி hearing இருக்கணும். This is also mandated in India's law legal system, but it is not happening. So அதுதான் வந்து இந்த பச்சன் சிங் என்ன கேஸ் சொன்னோம். ஆமா, in Bachchan Singh they spoke about this only. Okay, that there is a need for separate sentencing hearing, and this is in this will help to balance the rights of the victim and the accused. Okay, so accused or convicted or even that person is a human, he or she should also have rights. So அவங்களுக்கும் ஒரு கேஸ் கொடுக்கணும், because the state is working with the victim, collecting evidence for the victim and all that. ஆனா அக்யூஸ்டுக்கு யாரும் இல்ல, only the lawyer is supporting. So they should be given a chance to prove. நாங்க ஏன் தப்பு பண்ணோம்னு, தப்பே பண்ணியிருந்தாலும் அது ஏன் பண்ணோம், எதுக்காக பண்ணோம்னு சொல்றதுக்கு சான்ஸ் கொடுக்கணும். And that's why இன்னொரு நாள் செப்பரேட்டா ஹியரிங். Okay. And this, you can say this separate sentencing hearing is in line with principles of natural okay, and avoids hasty sentencing. So these kind of things are there. Okay, and yes, can we change? So this is about sentencing hearing. So in the concluding remark, what you can say is, to conclude, it can be said that more than the quantum of punishment, what is actually important in criminal justice system, so in the death penalty and all that, இதெல்லாம் வந்து நம்ம என்னன்னு சொல்லுவோம்னா, it is called as criminal justice system. Okay, so criminal justice system needs certainty of punishment. So punishment should be certain, that is greater than the quantum of punishment. Okay, so whether it is life imprisonment or death, அது வந்து முக்கியம் இல்ல, கண்டிப்பா இவங்க தப்பு பண்ணா பனிஷ்மெண்ட் கிடைக்கும் அப்படிங்கிறது தான், that is important. So very often what happens on the trial when it goes on for years, and by the time the person is convicted, it becomes very long. So there is need for fast track trials, speedy and quality investigation, training the police for same. Okay, so all this is only important. Yes, and death sentence. If you are against death sentence, you can also say death sentence also causes a lot of psychological trauma for the victim. So they are living in எப்போதுமே நம்ம ஒரு நாள் இறக்க போறோங்கிற ஃபியர்லயே வாழ்ந்துட்டு இருக்காங்க. So that makes life itself very stressful for them. So if you are going to take the stand of against death sentence, then you can write that also. Yes, human life in சொல்லும்போது the psychological ramifications of death sentence you can say. And according to this UN secretary for United Nations Secretary for Human Rights Council. Okay, United Human Rights UNHRC oda secretary சொன்னதுபடி greater than 170 countries have expelled. Okay, they have expelled death sentence. Okay, because it is not humanitarian. It's not a humanitarian thing to do. Psychological ramifications, ethical issues, so they have expelled. So we are holding it back, but holding back, we should act with restraint, like that you write. Okay. Can we change? So this is about death sentence, this thing. So next editorial is about Bengaluru water crisis. Okay. So Bengaluru is India's IT capital, and this place now it is under severe water crisis. And whenever we talk about water crisis, I hope you know this term. There is something called as there is something called as day zero. Day zero means it is the day when a city's pipelines run out of water. So pipe thanna anek thanni varada, adhan day zero. Chennai city had this problem in 2019, summer of 2019, May, June, and the time la vandu Chennai la nadந்துச்சு. Now Bangalore is facing this threat. So if you look at why Bangalore is having this scenario, so obviously population pressure. எல்லா சிட்டிஸ்லயும் வந்து population boom நடக்குது. So Bangalore IT capital, it is a metropolitan city, so population pressure is there. So that is number one factor. Then this year it was actually El Nino. So monsoon deficit. Okay, so India had a monsoon deficit, and as of September 2000, as of Sep 1, 2023, the deficit was 11%. So அந்த எந்த இயர் நீங்க எக்ஸாம் போறீங்களோ அந்த டைம் மான்சூன் ஸ்டேட்டஸ் என்ன, some data you collect and keep, whether it's deficit or surplus or something. So crisis வந்தாலோ flood வந்தாலோ you can actually read it. Okay, so surplus monsoon surplus ன்னு சொல்லி data போடணும், deficit னா deficit ன்னு போடணும். Okay, so population pressure, El Nino and monsoon deficit, and next is that Rushabhavati. So Bangalore kulla there is a river called as Rushabhavati river. So this river it is actually polluted. So river water pollute ஆயிடுச்சுனா, or water source to the city pollute ஆயிடுச்சுனா, it becomes non-potable. So for drinking or anything it cannot be used. illa use பண்ணா treatment ரொம்ப expensive ஆயிடும். So this water source of the city is polluted. And Kaveri, it is under dispute. So between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, Kaveri water sharing dispute le podhu. And Makedatu, that Megadatu and the project வந்து reservoir. It is aimed at water supply to Bangalore city, but not taking off. Why means there is a risk of 4,000 or let's say 5,000 hectares of forest submergence. Okay, so and the environmental concerns on the project, you can just say it's not taking off. Environmental concerns are there, and also downstream states like Tamil Nadu are opposing it as well now. Yes. So this is about the reasons for Bangalore's water crisis, and yeah, also you can say Bangalore is inland, so no scope for desalinization. So desalinization possibilities வந்து ரொம்ப கம்மி. இப்போ coastal cities like Mumbai, Chennai, இங்கேயாவது வந்து water crisis வந்தா பக்கத்துலேயே sea இருக்கு, sea water harness பண்ணிடலாம். Bangalore doesn't have that option also, and it is more vulnerable. We are also comparing it with other cities. Okay, so compared to coastal cities, okay, more vulnerable compared to coastal cities and other cities like Delhi. Delhi வந்து inland தான், but it has many big rivers in the vicinity. North Indiaல இருக்கு. So பக்கத்துல Himalayan rivers like Ganges, Yamuna, all these are there. These are all perennial rivers, snow-fed river, glacial fed along with monsoon. But Bangalore வந்து தண்ணி வரணும்னா காவேரி basinல வந்து மழை இருக்கணும். Only if adequate water or rain is there in Kaveri basin, then only Bangalore will have enough water. On the muddy issues and constraints. So all these are actually the reasons. Yes. And coming to the solution. So Bangalore specific solution if we see for this issue. So என்ன பண்ணலாம் அப்படின்னா routine things what we know only. Rainwater harvesting. Okay. Rejuvenate and connect wetlands. So it will also be better if there is connectivity between wetlands. So ஒரு wetland flow ஆகி when it is full, it can be connected through channels to other wetlands. So various இடத்துல வந்து water collect ஆகும். And in India for wetland rejuvenation, we have a scheme. You can in the money exam you can also write the corresponding scheme names. Okay, Amrit Dharohar or Amrit Sarovar mission. Amrit Sarovar. So adu sollalam. And then water 3R. Okay, that is reducing water use, recycling, reuse. So either and mini forest in every ward. So mini forest and you can also talk about and in the forest also say that native species should be planted. And urban foresting this technique is also applicable. Miyawaki forest. This can be done in the backyard of homes. Okay, so idu pannalam. And what else? Green spaces for recharge of shallow aquifers. So நம்ம வந்து urban planningல வந்து green spaces create பண்ணோம். அதாவது plants இருக்கிற இடம் இல்லனா grasses இருக்கிற இடம். Okay, so எங்கெல்லாம் aquifer இருக்குன்னு through groundwater mapping or aquifer mapping we can identify the aquifers. So எங்கெங்க aquifer இருக்கோ, recharge points எங்க இருக்கோ, there we can actually create green spaces so that water will penetrate. So அந்த இடத்துல வந்து நம்ம concrete structures ஏதோ வைக்காம ஓப்பனா விட்டா அந்த இடத்து வழியா penetrate ஆகும். So that you can say. So for this you should say city master planning should be done accordingly. So these are actually some Bangalore specific solutions. And yeah, and you can also say environment literacy boosting. Okay, in peopleக்கு வந்து environmental consciousness இருக்கணும், and அவங்களுக்கு வந்து water conservation, those kind of behavior should be there. So you can also say behavioral changes. Okay, so அது வந்து it can be facilitated by IEC campaigns, information and education campaigns. So அவங்க வந்து வாட்டரை வந்து எப்படி கன்சர்வ் பண்ணி யூஸ் பண்றதுன்னு தெரிஞ்சாலே பாதி பிரச்சனை வந்து சால்வ் ஆயிடும். Can I change? Then you can say water metering, water pricing, okay, and applying polluter pays principle as per Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act. So Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act la வந்து water bodies la போயிட்டு sewage கட்டுறதோ industrial effluents ஏதோ வந்து pour பண்ணா there is a fine for that. So on the fine வந்து we should actually properly impose. Only then we saw, right, that Rishabhavati, one river in Bangalore, is polluted. So the மாதிரி river stretches, wetlands, நிறைய வந்து polluted இருக்கு. It is because people are dumping waste without treatment. So if that habit is reduced itself, the amount of fresh water available for people will increase. So இதை வந்து apply பண்ணுவோம். It's not just Bangalore. இதை வந்து நம்ம Bangalore point of view வந்து பார்க்கிறோம். For any city, you can write these points. Okay. So this is about the solutions. And so can I rub this? So now whatever we saw was why this problem is happening in Bangalore and what is the solution for that or way forward for that. But apart from that, if we look at water crisis from a larger perspective, India full away in the problem. So it's not just a problem confined to cities, but rural India, agriculture sector also has the problem. So a little more we'll explore about water crisis. Okay, so some facts, some points which you can write. Water pati adigadi in UPSC they keep asking, so these things can be written. CPCB data says that greater than or not, okay, this as of 311 river stretches are polluted. So as of 2022, 311 river stretches are polluted. So polluted means on the water வந்து யூஸ் பண்ண முடியாது, heavy metal content இருக்கும், it may be toxic. Okay, so other intake இருந்தா இன்னும் நிறைய பிரச்சனைகள் வரும். So that is one problem. And Central Groundwater Board. Okay, CGWG stands for Central Groundwater Board. So this body says that in Punjab, Haryana, okay, and in the Green Revolution belt, okay, so rate of withdrawal is greater than replenishment or recharge. So lack of scientific agricultural practices. So ஒரு semi-arid regionல போயிட்டு rice cultivation பண்றது, excessive irrigation. So because of that, so much of groundwater withdrawal is there. So அந்த ஏரியால அவ்வளவு மழையே கிடையாது. Withdrawal is happening. அப்புறம் அந்த irrigation projects இருக்கு, அதெல்லாம் வச்சு they are managing. But it is a very, very unsustainable thing to do. So this concern you can highlight. And according to Falkenmark Water Index. So இது வந்து ஒரு international index. அவங்களோட ஸ்டடி படி பார்த்தா 76% India is having water stress. Okay, and what is water stress? What is water scarcity? This was also asked once. So according to these people, if a person has less than 1,700 meter cube per year. Okay, per year, per person. Okay, per person. So this is called as water stress scenario. Water scarcity now. Less than 1000 meter cube per person per year. Yeah. Okay. Can we change? So this issues then, and agriculture. Okay, this sector accounts for 85% water use, and in this sector there is a problem of low water use. Okay, so agriculture sector தான் 85% water use, majority water in the sector தான் யூஸ் பண்ணுது, பட் அங்க water use efficiency வந்து ரொம்ப கம்மி. Okay, because of unsustainable cropping patterns, unsustainable irrigation methods, all of that. And then you can say what next? So these are the concerns, and what happens due to water scarcity. So water scarcity nala enna nadakudhu? So these are all some indicators of water stress in the country. So நம்ம அந்த கொடுத்த 4 points. And if you see the outcome of water scarcity, water இல்லாததால என்ன நடக்கும் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா, one is economic growth will be impacted. Okay, for example, if agriculture sector, agriculture yield வந்து கம்மியாயிடுச்சுன்னா, farmer income will reduce. So farmer income reduce ஆச்சுன்னா rural demand வந்து குறைஞ்சிரும். Okay, so rural demand குறைஞ்சதுன்னா investment குறையும். Investment குறைஞ்சா ஜாபும் குறையும். Okay, so this can, அதாவது ஒரு economic growthல நம்ம agriculture sector மட்டும் வச்சு we are trying to explore one example. So agriculture yield இல்லைன்னா farmer income இல்லை, farmer income இல்லைன்னா rural demand இல்லை, investment இல்லை, job இல்லை. And how they will be analyzing this means rural demand and all they calculate through sale of two-wheelers, tractors, FMCG. FMCG na the soap, toothpaste, biscuit, shampoo, நம்ம daily use பண்ற products இருக்குல்ல, so அந்த மாதிரி commoditiesலயும் வந்து demand குறையும். So they'll be analyzing rural demand through all these methods. Okay, so in all these sectors demand will drop, and agri yield குறையும் போது one another problem is food security also drops. Yes, agri yield drop ஆகும்போது food security drop நடக்கும். So this you can either on the society perspective la nariya irundha, malnutrition, how it has long term ramifications அப்படி இப்படின்ட்டு. So we are not going into that. Next problem வந்து diseases, death, hunger. So there is possibility of all this: disease, death, hunger, starvation. And one another thing is there can also be a threat to natural habitats. Natural habitats na ipo forest and the mari regions la water scarcity in the animals வந்து வெளிய வரும். So there can be there is a possibility of man animal conflicts. Very often elephants la வெளிய வருது. So forest la வந்து adequate resources இருக்கு, food இருக்குனா அதுக்கு வெளிய வர அவசியம் இருக்காது. But இல்லங்கம்போது it is coming out. So when monsoon is not adequate, ஃபாரஸ்ட்லயும் அந்த ஃபாடர் இருக்காது, ஃபுட் இருக்காது, வாட்டரும் இருக்காது. So there is possibility of clash man-animal conflict. Okay. Disease death வந்து the hygiene will be, you can also say hygiene will be affected, sanitation will be affected. Hygiene, sanitation. So இது இல்லாததால நிறைய health outcomes, diarrhea, what else? Cholera, typhoid, a lot of waterborne diseases can also come about. Okay. Can we change? So these are some what happens to due to water scarcity in சில விஷயங்கள் பார்த்திருக்கோம். So you can write more also. Okay. And so if you look at solution, so agriculture வந்து Swaminathan committee said அவங்க வந்து என்ன சஜஸ்ட் பண்ணாங்கன்னா enhance the procurement of less water intensive crops, MSP buying of less water intensive. So MSP system la right now we are buying rice and wheat. These two crops are water guzzling crops, water intensive crops. Whereas நம்ம water requirement கம்மியா இருக்கிற crop வாங்கணும்னா farmer-ஓட cropping pattern-உம் அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி Swaminathan committee stated. And satellite monitoring to facilitate irrigation based on terrain topography. So this will actually help in water saving. So flood irrigation, basin irrigation மாதிரி இல்லாம ஒரு terrain க்கு ஏத்த மாதிரி irrigation, micro irrigation, these kind of things. Okay. And reforms in electricity subsidy. Why reform in electricity subsidy means அது வந்து water pump, free electricity இருந்தா they're using the pump, they're extracting all the groundwater underneath. So free electricity இல்லனாலே அந்த pump motor use பண்றது குறைஞ்சிரும். So water use-உம் குறைஞ்சிரும். And UNICEF, okay, this organization, what they did was they repaired water treatment and distribution system. Okay, so worldwide water treatment and distribution systems are repair பண்ணி they tried to address leaks and losses. So in the water distribution networks-ல வந்து அந்த pipe leak அந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள்னால water loss வந்து நடந்துட்டு இருக்கும். So UNICEF carried out projects in many countries to reduce that. So அதுல வந்து huge quantum of loss can be reduced. So you can say even in India we can implement this. Okay, so these are just some things, and other general schemes for water conservation I think we'll be knowing. National water policy, go have a look. அதுல வந்து என்ன important points அப்படி இருக்குன்ட்டு வந்து like how we should prioritize water for drinking, then for irrigation and all that. Okay, so just read about national water policy. Then we have schemes like Atal Bhujal Yojana. Atal Bhujal Yojana வந்து groundwater conservation. And இப்போ வந்து நம்ம ஒண்ணு பார்த்தோம்ல அம்ரித் தரோஹர், அது வந்து wetland restoration. And then Krishi Sinchai, per drop more crop, micro irrigation. Okay, so அதுக்கப்புறம் ஜல் சக்தி அபியான், that is catch the rain campaign. Okay, so these are all some schemes which aim at water saving. Yes. Anything? Okay, so every time when you're talking about இது மாதிரி இஷ்யூஸ்லாம் பேசும்போது நம்ம சொல்யூஷன் சொல்லும் போது அது கூட என்ன கவர்மெண்ட் ஸ்கீம் இருக்கோ அதை வந்து லிங்க் பண்ணிடணும். ரெயின் வாட்டர் ஹார்வெஸ்டிங்னா யூ கேன் சே யூ கேன் பிளெயினா ரெயின் வாட்டர் ஹார்வெஸ்டிங்னு இல்லாம ஜல் சக்தி அபியான், கேட்ச் த ரெயின் கேம்பெயின், லைக் தட் யூ கேன் சே. வெட்லாண்டுக்கு நம்ம அமிர்த் தரோவர் சொன்னோம். கிரவுண்ட் வாட்டர் யூஸ்ன்னு வரும்போது அட்டல் பூஜல், அந்த மாதிரி everything without writing plainly you can link it with a government scheme and write so that it looks more authentic. Okay, so next editorial is on critical minerals security. Okay, critical mineral security. So post COVID, in this critical mineral terminology has become very prominent, ரொம்ப popular ஆயிடுச்சு. So COVID அப்போ என்ன நடந்துச்சுன்னா, so okay, before going to that COVID, see there are some elements, okay, like lithium, nickel, cobalt, some rare earth elements, graphite, beryllium, so many things, okay. So all these, இந்த மாதிரி some elements are there. So these elements என்ன நடக்கும்னா, they are actually things which are used in large quantities. These elements are used in large quantities in telecom equipments, defense, aerospace, automobiles, e-vehicles, okay, electronics, modern electronics, the phone, cell phone, tab, laptop, okay, and renewable energy equipments. Renewable energy equipment na solar PV panels, windmills, அதெல்லாம். Wind turbines. So in the mari, in making all of these things, these critical elements are used. And today, the economy of many nations is closely related to this. Telecom illada country illa. Everywhere we are having this telecom equipments, connectivity, defense ellarkum theva, automobiles theva, e-vehicles are becoming more and more popular. Modern electronics and the phone, tab, computer adellam. Renewable is also becoming important because all countries are trying to make a shift away from fossil fuels. So in all these things, these critical elements are very important. So ultimately it is linked to a country's economy. So what makes a mineral critical is that the criticality factor எப்போ வருதுன்னா, it is linked to economic growth, and next problem is possibility of supply chain damage. Okay, so நம்ம போன ஸ்லைட்ல பார்த்த all those activities அதெல்லாமே important sectors for every country's economy. So எல்லாருக்குமே அந்த எக்கனாமிக் growthல அந்த பிளேயர்ஸோட ரோல் இருக்கும். அண்ட் இப்போ அந்த எலிமெண்ட்ஸ் இல்ல, அந்த எலிமெண்ட்ஸ் வந்து எக்கனாமிக் தேவைப்படுது, தட் இஸ் ஒன் திங். அண்ட் இட் இஸ் ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்டட் இன் சப்ளை. எல்லார்ட்டையும் அந்த எலிமெண்ட்ஸ் வந்து ஈஸிலி அவைலபிள் கிடையாது. அதுக்கு வந்து அவங்க ஒரு சோர்ஸ் ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணி அந்த சோர்ஸ்ல இருந்து வாங்கி தென் தே ஹேவ் டு யூஸ் இட் இன் ஆல் தோஸ் திங்ஸ் விச் வி saw. So that is what actually makes the element critical. Okay, so there is a possibility of supply chain damage or risk. So before COVID, the scenario was that, okay, just before COVID, China was dominating. Before COVID, China okay, so before COVID, China was actually dominating in these kind of critical element supply. But COVID appo enna nadந்துச்சுனா, China had a very strict lockdown. அந்த ஸ்ட்ரிக்ட் லாக்டவுன்னால அவங்க என்ன பண்ணாங்க, all their industries were shut, ports were closed and all that. So COVID அப்போ they were not able to supply many of these elements to many world countries. And as you know, China has and the global geopolitics பார்த்தா சைனாக்கு வந்து US கூட tensions இருக்கு, Western world கூட tension இருக்கு. China has tensions with India. Okay, China is having tension with Quad nations like Australia, Japan. So இந்த மாதிரிலாம் இருக்கிறதுனால what the world community thought was that we should not rely so much on China for these kind of equipment import, not equipment, these kind of critical elements import. Rather, we should look at identifying our own sources for it. So நம்மளா வந்து நம்ம கிட்ட இந்த எலிமெண்ட்ஸ்லாம் இருக்கான்னு பார்த்து மைண்ட் பண்ண ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணணும், மைண்ட் பண்ணணும், ப்ராசஸ் பண்ணணும், end products produce பண்ணணும். That was the objective. So all countries actually started giving importance to critical minerals post COVID. Okay, அதுக்கு முன்னாடியும் இருந்துச்சு, பட் போஸ்ட் கோவிட்க்கு வந்து எவ்ரி கண்ட்ரி ஸ்டார்டட் லுக்கிங் அட் செல்ஃப் ரிலையன்ஸ் இன் தீஸ் திங்ஸ். ஓகே, அதாவது அவங்களா வந்து இண்டிஜினஸா ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்றது, டெவலப் பண்றது, rather than relying on imports. Okay, and before going for what the world did, let's just see the distribution. Okay, so world la வந்து distribution பார்த்தா of these critical elements or the production. Okay, so China is 60% of rare earth elements. 60% of world's rare earth elements are produced by China. Indonesia வந்து 35% of world's nickel. Okay, Indonesia வந்து 35% of world's nickel. அப்புறம் நிக்கல் தானே. Democratic Republic of Congo. Democratic Republic of Congo, அவங்க வந்து 75% of world's cobalt. Yes. Chile வந்து 30% of world's copper. Anything else? Any other country left? Australia. Yeah, Australia 55% of lithium. Okay, 55% lithium production is by Australia. So this is all based on production. Okay, so then the இடத்துல production of these substances is happening. Okay, reserves is a different thing. Reserves in பார்த்தா lithium வந்து is dominant in South America. This is based on production. That is the fact that they are mining and processing. Okay, so இந்த மாதிரி தான் the distribution is not uniform. இந்த elements வந்து globally எல்லாருமே யூஸ் பண்ற elements தான். For every country it is very very crucial, but எல்லாத்தையும் ஈக்குவலா இல்ல. Production வந்து is not uniformly distributed. It is concentrated like this. So this is the problem. And biggest problem is China. China வந்து rare earth elements வந்து இவ்வளவு வச்சிருக்காங்க. They have this, and apart from that, China also has stakes in DRC and Latin America. So அந்த இடத்துல வந்து in Democratic Republic of Congo, cobalt mining, cobalt exploration is happening. இங்க வந்து copper, lithium and all that is happening. So இந்த மாதிரி இடத்துலயும் China is having investments. Okay, so apart from what it is doing at home, China has stakes here. So அந்த விதத்துல China control பண்ணுது. And in this process of அது எப்படின்னா, இந்த process எப்படின்னா, first you will explore. Okay, first exploration of the mineral will be done, then processing, and then you make some end products. So exploration of resource பண்ணுவாங்க, processing or refining of the mineral, and then end products. End product ன்னு சொல்லும்போது like something like battery, permanent or let's say magnets. Okay, so in the மாதிரி components what they make out of these substances. So in all these areas, actually, China is dominating. China dominates. So world community is not happy about this. And for example, one of the other reasons why China dominates is in the processing lam pathona. USA, there's a company in USA who actually, which actually outsources REE processing to China. Why this kind of outsourcing is done means these processes are energy intensive and there is a lot of GHG emission. So in the Marila, they actually outsource the process to China. So China, because of such outsourcing, and also they have economic might, economic power. So அவங்களுக்கு outsource பண்ணி the contracts they are doing some amount, and then they are also going and investing in other countries. So இந்த மாதிரிலாம் pre-COVID நடந்துச்சு. But now world countries are more alert. In the components ரொம்ப critical. இப்போ சைனாக்கு if it has a war with US, it will cut down a supply of or even prior to war, trade war நடந்ததுன்னா கூட they will cut down supply of this rare earth elements. இந்த rare earth elements supply cut ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா யூஎஸ்ஏல semiconductors செய்ய முடியாது. Semiconductors செய்ய முடியலன்னா they cannot make many critical, many electronic equipments, many defense equipments. So US will be crippled. So இதுதான் concept. இப்போ worldல critical minerals எல்லாம் யார்கிட்ட இருக்கோ those people are safer compared to others. So what the world community is now trying to do is okay, USA is creating something called as MSP or Mineral Security Partnership. Okay, so USA has created this alliance, and in this India has joined. Okay, so actually there are 14 countries in the alliance. Ellame developed the world nations. Now India is the only developing world nation. Why India means India has good relations with US, and also India has some concerns with China. China is our neighbor. Our relation is also not good. So China turn critical minerals the idea is to isolate China and to have self-reliance in critical minerals. So USA has started it and they've invited India to join. India has also joined. மத்த எல்லாரும் developed countries தான். But the concern with this MSP, this thing is that members like Indonesia, South American nations, Democratic Republic of Congo, and we saw earlier that they have so much of production and all that, but they are not part of it. It is an alliance of developed the world nations. Okay, or 14 countries irukku, but ellame developed world nations. So important stakeholders, they have not been included. So that problem is there. And but அது problem point of view. So if in the exam they're asking what is India doing to enhance security of critical minerals, you can just say that we have joined this initiative. Okay, and in the MSP oda innor aim or the aim is actually friend shoring. Friend shoring means trying to concentrate exploration, processing, production in friendly countries. So if there is some supply chain connection or trade linkage where USA is buying these components from enemy countries, Russia irundhu vaangura mariyo illa Iran irundho China irundho vaangura mari irundha adukku badala they will find other friendly nations with whom they can buy and trade. So that process is called as friend shoring. Okay, so it means more safe and reliable supplies. Yes, can we change? And other steps by India. So one is that we joined MSP, Mineral Security Partnership of USA. Second is that India identified list of 30 critical minerals. So this was done by Ministry of Mines. So for the first time, நம்ம ஒரு 30 minerals identify பண்ணிருக்கோம். list போட்டிருக்கோம். So on the 30 minerals, one of the thing is rare earth elements. அதாவது 30 na rare earth is one. Apart from that, there are 29 things. And rare earth elements la ஒரு 17 elements இருக்கு. That is lanthanides plus scandium plus yttrium. Okay, rare earth has lanthanides. So these are 15 plus scandium, yttrium. So இதெல்லாம் வந்து 1. அப்புறம் இந்த மீதி 29ல வந்து you have copper, cobalt, nickel, so many things. Okay, so அந்த மாதிரி they have created a list of 30. So நம்மளோட national requirements அதெல்லாம் analyze பண்ணி study பண்ணி what we are using, all that has been seen. So நம்மகிட்ட இருக்கிற reserves நம்ம import பண்றது எல்லாத்தையும் வச்சு this list has actually been created. Okay, and after the creation of this list, government has actually facilitated what government has done is amendment of Mines and Minerals Development Act, right? Mines, MMDA then, Mines and Minerals. Mines and Mineral Act has been amended to allow private sector, okay, to explore 20 blocks of these critical minerals. So this was facilitated in November 2023. The list it was actually made in July 2023. The amendment was in November 2023. Now they are allowing private sectors. So or 20 blocks identify பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Their private sector is being allowed to mine the critical minerals, to explore and then mine. Okay, so that means we are looking at, it is not that India doesn't have these reserves. First, நம்மட்ட reserves இருக்கான்னு நம்ம தேடி பார்த்து இங்க எங்கெல்லாம் இருக்குன்னு சொன்னா we can actually start doing production at home itself. It is just that everybody, before COVID, they never thought of things like that. அது வந்து இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு விஷயம் நடக்கும், சைனாவால threaten பண்ண முடியும் supply அப்படிங்கிறது யோசிக்கல. After that threat came, now everybody is moving towards self-reliance. Okay. அப்புறம் இன்னொன்னு வந்து Geological Survey of India. Okay, so they have explored, they have been involved in reconnaissance and exploration, and they have identified lithium. Okay, it has been identified in a place called Riyasi district of Jammu and Kashmir. Lithium reserves. Okay, lithium reserves have been identified in Riyasi district, REASI, Riyasi district of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, and it is also being said that probably India has the 5th largest lithium reserves in the world. It's not that we don't have, it's just that we were not bothering to produce. So நம்ம கண்டுபிடிச்சா explore பண்ணா, it is possible that we can do it at home itself. அப்புறம் so இதெல்லாம் தான். And then there is a body called as Kabil. Kabilங்கிறது வந்து it is nothing but Khanij Bidesh Limited. Khanij Bidesh India Limited. Okay, so to identify reserves in foreign land. So friend shoring அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம்ல. So with friendly countries, we will enter into partnerships and try to explore resources. So Australia kuda, Argentina kudalam, this Kabil, this body, okay, it's a public sector body. So in the body வந்து அவங்க கூடலாம் they are making agreements. So அவங்க சொல்லுவாங்க எங்க countryல இருக்கு, சரி நீங்க வாங்க, we will mine and produce. You can also take, we can also take. So it's like that. So for that, this body has been created. Okay, to identify reserves in foreign land. So actually Argentina, Australia, அங்கெல்லாம் வந்து Kabil is finding reserves. And India has also signed agreement with Australia. We also have agreement with Australia. So ஒரு 5 critical minerals explore பண்றதுக்கு we have agreement with Australia. So we are going to focus on rare earth. So எதுங்கிறது is not important. You can just say that we have agreement with Australia. Okay. So these are the steps. These are the steps which have been taken. And you can also say that இது தவிர there is a need to there's a need to update the list. Okay. So critical minerals ங்கிறது வந்து country to country it will vary. இந்த 30 minerals வந்து இந்தியாவோட லிஸ்ட்ல வந்து 30. USA வந்து அவங்க லிஸ்ட் ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணிருக்காங்க. ஜப்பான் ஒரு லிஸ்ட் வச்சிருக்காங்க. I think they have some 50 அந்த மாதிரி ஒவ்வொரு எல்லாருக்கும் சேம் 30 இருக்காது. சில பேருக்கு 50 இருக்கலாம், சில பேருக்கு 20 இருக்கலாம், 40 இருக்கலாம். அண்ட் அந்த உள்ள இருக்கிற எலிமெண்ட்ஸும் வேற வேற. ஸோ ஒவ்வொரு கண்ட்ரியும் அவங்களுக்கு ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணாங்க. இன் வாட் இந்தியா ஐடென்டிஃபைட் இட் இஸ் திஸ் லிஸ்ட். அண்ட் திஸ் லிஸ்ட் ஹேஸ் டு பி updated every 3 years. Critical mineral list. Okay, CML or the critical mineral list should be updated every 3 years. Because every 3 years, yeah, update in சொல்றோம்னா countries economic scenario will change, development மாறும். So சில new elements வரும். இப்போ ஒரு 10 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி we were not talking about electric vehicles or battery cars or all that. But இப்போ வந்து electric vehicles வந்து ரொம்ப popular. And electric vehicles வேணும்னா நமக்கு battery தேவை. So battery is needed means we need elements like lithium, we need nickel, we need cobalt, lead, graphite, these kind of things. So இதுக்கு முன்னாடி we were not talking about those battery elements. So இன்னைக்கு அது வந்து இந்தியாவுக்கு critical element. So இதுக்கு முன்னாடி டீசல் பெட்ரோல் தான் யூஸ் பண்ணுவோம். So like that 3 yearsக்கு once update ஆனா என்னென்னது வந்து criticalங்கிறது will be able to identify. So that's the idea behind updating. And for India this is also important because we are looking at decarbonization. Okay. So India has the goal, long-term goal of decarbonization. And இப்போ நம்ம பஞ்சமித்ரால வந்து we have stated that 500 gigawatts of this thing, 500 gigawatt of non-fossil based energy by 2030. Okay. அப்புறம் e-vehicles share வந்து நம்ம எப்படி டார்கெட் பண்றோம்னா we want 30% cars, 70% commercial vehicles and 80% of 2 and 3 wheelers. All this should be by 2030. Okay, by 2030 or 30% cars, 70% commercial vehicles and 80% 2-wheeler, 3-wheeler. We are targeting to make it electrical by 2030. So அப்பனா நமக்கு நிறைய critical elements தேவைப்படும். Okay. So compared to a conventional car, to make an e-car or 6 times excessive of these critical elements are needed. Okay. Compared to a conventional car or e-car செய்யறதுக்கு வந்து 6 times ஜாஸ்தி தேவைப்படுது. If you want, you can write that. Yes. And compared to conventional gas-fired power plants, okay, gas or coal-fired power plants compared பண்ணும்போது, when we are making solar panels or wind energy and the turbines செய்யும்போது 9 times critical minerals are needed. So by default, all these things, the clean energy generation methods la வந்து critical minerals ஜாஸ்தி தேவைப்படும். Okay, so be it e-cars or solar panels or your wind turbines, எதுனாலும். Okay, 9 times compared to gas-fired plants. Compared to gas-fired plants, your wind turbines based power generation needs 9 times critical minerals. Okay. So if we are looking at if we are looking at decarbonization, then critical minerals are mandatory. So அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு scenario வந்து create ஆயிருக்கு. Yeah, so it is about this only. Lithium triangle அந்த இது பத்தி சொல்லலாம். That I think you people will be knowing நிறைய. It's a very Argentina, Bolivia, Chile. அது தெரியும். So yeah, this is about this critical mineral security and all that. So you know why it is important, what India is doing, what can be done. So அதெல்லாம் வந்து பார்த்தாச்சு. And yes, so now we'll go for next one. Next editorial is on yeah, quotes. Okay, so recently one verdict was there. அந்த verdictல Supreme Court என்ன சொன்னாங்கன்னா, a constitutional bench, okay, a 7-judge constitutional bench headed by the Chief Justice of India, it remarked that legislators cannot enjoy immunity, okay, for taking bribes. ஏன் இப்படி ஒரு இது வந்துச்சுன்னா, in Indian Constitution there is a concept called as separation of powers. Yes, it is a basic structure doctrine. Okay, this is under basic structure doctrine. So separation of power oda meaning enna, judiciary separate இருக்கணும், legislature separate இருக்கணும், and executive வந்து separate. So separate இருந்தாதான் they can work independently without interference in their spheres, and they can function effectively. So it means a better democracy for people. So அதனாலதான் separation of powerங்கிற concept, and this has been interpreted by the Supreme Court as basic structure. Basic structure ன்னு ஒரு doctrine கொடுத்திருக்காங்க, but அதுக்குள்ள என்னென்ன features இருக்குன்னு சொல்லல. But anyway, we are you know, it is based on general interpretation that this forms part of basic structure. So in the bribesங்கிறது எப்போ வருதுன்னா, there is a concept called as parliamentary privileges. Okay, parliamentary privileges, and these privileges are provided under Article 105. Article 105 gives something called as parliamentary privileges, and the idea of having this parliamentary privileges is to ensure that the idea is to ensure that legislators work fearlessly and independently. Okay, so அதனால Article 105 வந்து there's a concept called as parliamentary privileges. So அவங்களுக்கு என்னன்னா, நம்ம ஏதாவது பார்லிமெண்ட்ல ஏதாவது பேசினாலோ இல்ல பார்லிமெண்ட்ல ஏதாவது vote பண்ணாலோ வந்து they should, you know, they should not have the fear that court may punish us for this. So court வந்து parliament குள்ள போய் it cannot interfere. So they should be able to speak and vote, you know, without any fear in the parliament. So that is why this concept of parliamentary privileges, which means parliament will have the power to manage its affairs. So idla vandu we have something called as collective privileges, and then there is also the concept of individual privileges. So collective privileges now, you can say publishing report, conducting secret sittings, the மாதிரிலாம் இருக்கு. And the individual privileges, if you see, you have right to speak, right to vote in the houses or committees. Okay, so like these privileges are there. Okay, so this is crucial for proper functioning of parliament. அப்ப இது இருந்தா தான் parliament வந்து function ஆக முடியும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டாங்க. So in 1990s, what happened was when this Narasimha Rao government was there, there was an attempt to actually topple that government. Okay, நம்ம அதுக்குள்ளலாம் போக வேண்டாம். Okay, எந்த கவர்மெண்ட் பத்தியும் பேச வேண்டாம். So what happens is people in parliament ஒரு பார்ட்டி வந்து பவர்ல இருக்கும், இன்னும் ரெண்டு மூணு different parties will be there, right, in the legislature. When one party is trying to pass a bill or something, அவங்க வந்து அவங்க பார்ட்டி விப்னு இருப்பாங்க. தட் மீன்ஸ் ஒரு லீடர் மாதிரி அவங்க வந்து அந்த பார்ட்டி கேண்டிடேட்ஸ் எல்லாம் சொல்லிடுவாங்க. தட் இஸ் த எம்பிஸ் ஆர் எம்எல்ஏஸ். தே வில் சே யூ ஹேவ் டு வோட் லைக் திஸ். இந்த மாதிரி தான் வந்து அந்த பார்ட்டி வந்து வோட் பண்ணணும். ஸோ 1998ல ஒரு கேஸ் நடந்துச்சு. அதுல வந்து எப்படின்னா there was a no confidence motion against a particular government. ஸோ அந்த no confidence motionனா when that motion is not passed, the government will get toppled. அந்த ரெசல்யூஷன் வந்து இப்போ பாஸ் ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா ஒரு பார்ட்டி ஏவோட கவர்மெண்ட்டுக்கு அகேன்ஸ்டா இன்னொரு பார்ட்டி பி வந்து நோ கான்ஃபிடன்ஸ் மோஷன் போட்டு ஹவுஸ்ல வந்து ஓட்டிங் எடுத்து மெஜாரிட்டி மெம்பர்ஸ் பாஸ் பண்ணிட்டாங்கன்னா அந்த கவர்மெண்ட் வந்து ஸ்டெப் டவுன் பண்ணணும். ஸோ 1998ல வந்து இந்த மாதிரி நடந்துச்சு. தேர் வாஸ் நோ கான்ஃபிடன்ஸ் மோஷன். ஸோ தேர் வாஸ் அ ரிஸ்க் ஆஃப் த கவர்மெண்ட் பீங் டாப்பிள். ஸோ அந்த கவர்மெண்ட் என்ன பண்ணாங்கன்னா தே கேவ் பிரைப்ஸ் டு மெம்பர்ஸ் ஆஃப் த அதர் party. So they were like, நீங்க உங்க பார்ட்டி விப் சொல்றத கேட்காதீங்க. Instead you vote for, without listening to your party whip, you vote for our party. That means we will not அந்த no confidence motionல வந்து நாங்க சேவ் ஆயிருவோம். Our government will not topple. Like this it happened and that government did not topple. These people took bribe and அவங்க வந்து ஓட்டும் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. So when this happened, after that the court this case actually went to court. Okay, so it became an issue and case went to court. So அப்போ வந்து court gave a ruling அந்த 1998ல that case name is Jharkhand Mukti Morcha 1998. So that is the name of the case. Okay, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha ruling, case ruling you say. Okay, so Supreme Court gave the ruling in 1998. Can I change? So idla avanga enna sonnanga, they said that immunity can be given to bribe takers. Okay, so bribe takers வந்து they are all parliamentarians. So அவங்க பார்லிமெண்ட்ல வந்து பேசுறதுக்கோ இல்ல to vote in a particular way, if they have taken bribe, it is still okay. We will give them immunity because it is a constitutional right, constitutional privilege. This parliamentary privilege, okay, constitutional right ன்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. It's a constitutional privilege. These parliamentary privileges are constitutional privileges because it is given under Article 105. Okay, so இது வந்து பார்லிமெண்ட்டுக்கு வந்து 105, ஸ்டேட் லெஜிஸ்லேச்சர்ஸ்க்கு வந்து Article 194. ஸ்டேட் லெஜிஸ்லேச்சர்ஸ்க்கு வந்து பார்லிமெண்ட் எம்பிஸ் அந்த எம்பி இல்ல அது எம்எல்ஏ சொல்லுவோம்ல. For MLAs the privileges are given under Article 194. MPஸ்க்கு வந்து இதே privileges வந்து Article 105ல கொடுக்கும். So அந்த 1998 கேஸ் ரூலிங்ல வந்து bribe எடுத்தாலும் வந்து கோர்ட் வந்து at that time it refused to step in and they refused to punish the MPs for that. Okay, so அந்த டைம்ல கொடுத்த ரூலிங் அப்படி. But now that ruling has been revisited and Supreme Court, right, they have the habit of correcting their old judgments and all that. So அவங்க அந்த judgment refer பண்ணி no we made a mistake in that and சொல்லி they are allowed to change their verdict. So now present last week what was the verdict means? No immunity. Okay, and what they said, அதுக்கு அவங்க என்ன justification கொடுத்தாங்க அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா, first they said that taking bribe does not pass necessity test. Okay, necessity test now. For example, your a free speech, free vote. இதெல்லாம் வந்து necessary for the independent functioning of a parliamentarian. ஓகே, ஃப்ரீ ஸ்பீச் அவங்களுக்கு இருக்கணும், ஃப்ரீ ஓட்டும் இருக்கணும். இந்த ரைட்ஸ்லாம் இருந்தா பார்லிமெண்டேரியனால இண்டிபெண்டா ஃபங்க்ஷன் பண்ண முடியும். பட் தட் டஸ் நாட் இன்க்ளூட் த ரைட் டு டேக் அ பிரைப் அப்படின்ட்டு அவங்க சொல்லிட்டாங்க. ஓகே, ஸோ ஃப்ரீ ஸ்பீச் ஃப்ரீ ஓட் வேற, பட் பிரைப் வாங்குறது வந்து நெசசரி கிடையாது அப்படின்ட்டு சுப்ரீம் கோர்ட் சார். And then also there was a question whether that person has taken the bribe, but bribe மட்டும் வாங்கிட்டு அவங்க பார்ட்டி விப் கேட்டது விப் சொன்னபடி ஓட் பண்ணியிருந்தா then can we leave them? But for that also Supreme Court said, irrespective of how that MP votes, if he or she has taken a bribe, அப்பவே வந்து தப்பு நடந்துச்சு, he is not immune. So that means that person has to face the criminal prosecution அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லிட்டாங்க. And punishment by house. So parliamentary privileges படி பார்த்தா, for the behavior inside the house, only the parliament has the right to punish. Okay, so parliament what they'll do means they may do jailing or they may do suspension of the member. Okay, parliamentே வந்து ஒரு MP தப்பு பண்ணியிருந்தா parliamentே இந்த measures எடுப்பாங்க. But Supreme Court said that this punishment by the house is not equal to criminal prosecution. And Supreme Court has said that taking a bribe is a criminal offense and hence it needs criminal prosecution. And Supreme Court also said that bribe takers erode the trust of voters. Bribe takers erode the trust of voters. So voters வந்து ஒரு ட்ரஸ்டோட vote பண்றாங்க, but இவங்க வந்து they are breaking that, and this Supreme Court said that it threatens responsive representative responsible and representative democracy. So it threatens democracy அப்படின்ட்டு Supreme Court வந்து சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. It erodes the trust of voters and it threatens responsible and responsible and representative democracy. Like that Supreme Court remarked. And Supreme Court also said that it said that Constitution mandates probity in public life. Probity means ethics. So when a MP is taking bribe, it means he is not adhering to probity. Okay, அவங்க வந்து probity இல்ல, there is no probity in public life when they are taking bribes. Yes, can we change? And Supreme Court also said that bribe immunity, or not bribe, the immunity given violates Article 14 or rule of law by creating a class of elected representatives with extraordinary okay, so ஒரு class of elected representatives we are giving something called as parliamentary privileges, and using those privileges when they take bribe, அவங்க அந்த bribe வாங்கிட்டு நம்ம immunity கொடுத்தா, it means we are giving them extraordinary protection. அந்த extraordinary protection வந்து, see, if a government servant accepts bribe, that is violation, it is a crime under Prevention of Corruption Act. அப்போ ஒரு parliamentarian வாங்கினாலும் it should be the same, right? அவங்களுக்கும் வந்து they should be answerable and accountable for that behavior. So if everybody is equal, that means elected representatives are not lord, they are not high, you know, it's not that they have the upper hand or anything. So அப்போ Article 14 இருந்துச்சுன்னா, Article rule of law இருந்துச்சுன்னா, they should also be held accountable. That was also stated by Supreme Court. So these were the points given, and yeah. So these were the points given, and hence Supreme Court said அவங்களுக்கு வந்து immunity வந்து கொடுக்க தேவையில்லை அப்படின்னு சொல்லி they closed the case. Okay. So this is about this thing. And can I rub this? And one more thing, one another editorial was there about this speaker. Okay. Speaker's role in so we'll see this briefly. நம்ம detail பண்ணல because that was there. This is also related to the behavior of parliamentarians, and I read something on this, so I want to tell. So அங்க வந்து those parliamentarians are taking bribe, and in that way they are violating ethics. Okay. So in that case, that was a problem. Here what happens is defection. When and all defection happens, I think you will be knowing the conditions, but anyway, I'll tell you. So somebody who has, you know, got elected to a party, I mean, to a house through a party, or Congress candidate or BJP candidate who elect to the Lok Sabha, let's say. And if that person voluntarily gives up membership of the party, then that is considered as defection. That is one criteria. Second one is voting against the party mandate. So party வந்து ஒரு பில்லுக்கு ஃபாரா vote பண்ணுன்னு சொல்லலாம், இல்லைன்னா ஒரு பில்லுக்கு அகேன்ஸ்டா vote பண்ணுன்னு சொல்லலாம். ஸோ இவங்க வந்து பார்ட்டி சொன்னதை கேட்காம வேற மாதிரி vote பண்ணா they are liable for disqualification. Or if they are absent during the voting, or if they abstain from voting, இருந்துட்டு vote பண்ணாம இருந்தா, that is also liability for you know, disqualification and defection. And independent members, they cannot join any party they cannot join independently elected candidates when they cannot take party membership. அது பண்ண முடியாது. And somebody who has been nominated to the legislature or parliament, that person has to join a party. If at all joining na 6 months kulla join adukapra join panna problem. Okay, so these are the conditions for defection. And idu vandu this provision was introduced by 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1985. Okay. அந்த டைம்ல வந்துச்சு. And some exceptions were given for defection. And the exceptions என்னன்னா, speaker of a parliament or a state legislature, that person, because of the nature of impartial role of his office, he or she is allowed to resign. Speaker மட்டும் resign பண்ணலாம். அவங்க வந்து அது வந்து defection-ஆ consider ஆகாது. இன்னொன்னு வந்து if in a party 2/3 of a member come out and they go for merger with another party, okay, that is also not considered as defection. So these were the exceptions given. So இதெல்லாம் நடந்துச்சு. Now under this defection, what is the norm means? Speaker decides. Okay, upon receiving a complaint. So ஒரு பார்ட்டி ஏல இருந்து பார்ட்டி பிக்கு வந்து ஒருத்தர் டிஃபெக்ட் ஆயிட்டாருன்னா, பார்ட்டி ஏ வந்து ஸ்பீக்கர்ட்ட போய் கம்ப்ளைண்ட் லெட்டர் கொடுக்கும். இந்த மாதிரி எங்களை விட்டுட்டு இவங்க வந்து இந்த பார்ட்டி போயிட்டாங்க, டிஸ்குவாலிஃபை தட் மெம்பர்னு சொல்லி. ஒன்லி when that party A gives the complaint, then the speaker can act. இல்ல இந்த மெம்பர் வந்து இங்க இருந்து இங்க போயிட்டாரு, இவங்க வந்து கம்ப்ளைண்டே கொடுக்கலன்னா ஸ்பீக்கர் will not act. Okay, that is one. But there is no time frame. There is no time frame for action. So action வந்து particular time frame வந்து கொடுக்கல. So speaker what generally they do is speaker is generally from the ruling party. So ruling party ல இருந்து speaker இருந்ததுனால what that person will do is generally defections எப்படி நடக்கும்னா whoever is not in power அந்த பார்ட்டில இருந்துட்டு ஒரு person வந்து ruling partyக்கு ஜெனரலா போவாங்க. இதுதான் general defection trend because of the they'll have more opportunities and benefits there, so they will defect. And the speaker being from ruling party, இவங்க வந்து complaint கொடுத்தாலும் that person will not act. The other party will give a complaint to the speaker that this person is defected and gone there, but there is no time frame on which the speaker should act. So speaker வந்து act பண்ணாமலே இருப்பாங்க. ஒருவேளை speaker act பண்ணணும்னு நினைச்சா கூட what happens is speaker ஓட tenure இருக்கணும்னா ஸ்பீக்கருக்கு அந்த சீட் இருக்கணும்னா he needs the support of the house. Okay, so that houseல வந்து majority யாரு ruling party தான். So ஸ்பீக்கர் வந்து அவரா வந்து ஒரு முடிவு எடுத்து இவர் இங்க இருந்து ரூலிங் பார்ட்டிக்கு வந்து ஒரு எம்பியை டிஸ்குவாலிஃபை பண்ணாங்கன்னா this house where ruling parties in majority can vote the speaker out. புரியுதா? So ஸ்பீக்கர் இவங்க வந்து கம்ப்ளைண்ட் கொடுத்து ஸ்பீக்கர் வந்து அவங்களை அவுக்கணும்னு நினைச்சா கூட this ruling party has majority in the house, so they can actually outvote the speaker. Okay, they can remove him from his seat. And அந்த அளவுக்கு கூட போக மாட்டாங்க because speaker is from the ruling party, he will always try to favor them only. So this is the problem in this defection law. So one person, some of the important things stated in this regard, some judgments. Okay, Supreme Court in Manipur case, they said that speaker should act within 3 months. Okay, speaker should act within 3 months அப்படின்ட்டு வந்து மணிப்பூர் கேஸ்ல வந்து சொல்லியிருந்தாங்க, மணிப்பூர் கேஸ் வேர்டிக்ட்ல. And in Kihoto Holohan case, in Kihoto Holohan case, what was stated was that speaker's action is not is subject to okay. So here judiciary said that speaker வந்து office வந்து doesn't seem to be impartial. So சில இந்த மாதிரி ஸ்பீக்கர் ஆஃபீஸ்லயே சில இஷ்யூஸ்லாம் இருக்கு, ஸ்பீக்கர் தப்பு பண்றதுக்கு வாய்ப்பு இருக்கு, அதனால ஸ்பீக்கரோட ஆக்ஷன் வந்து can be subjected to judicial review. Like that it was remarked in this Kihoto Holohan case. That was one. And yeah, one another problem is that so இது வந்து ரெண்டு important cases. And this author, அதாவது இந்த எடிட்டோரியல் எழுதின பர்சன் என்ன சொல்லியிருக்காங்கன்னா speaker or like a way forward he has given this. Okay, don't even write issue, has given it this like a way forward. So speaker's role can be eliminated. So in the editorial, the author says that there is no need for a role to give a role to the speaker, because நம்ம ஸ்பீக்கர் பார்த்தோம் that person is from ruling party, இல்ல ஸ்பீக்கர் எதுவும் பண்ணணும்னு நினைச்சாலும் அங்க எல்லாரும் they can outvote the speaker, they can remove the speaker. So ஸ்பீக்கரே எலிமினேட் பண்ணிருந்தா when a person, so ஒரு 4 criteria பார்த்தோம்ல டிஃபெக்ஷனுக்கு, so அந்த மாதிரி ஏதாவது ஆக்ஷன்ல இன்வால்வ் ஆனா that person should be immediately disqualified. Okay, when a person defects, automatic disqualification okay. So this can be facilitated by a parliamentary statute. So speaker எதுவும் decide பண்ண வேணாம், அந்த நம்ம we saw 4 criteria when as to what is considered as defection. So அந்த மாதிரி ஏதாவது 4 actions அந்த 4ல ஏதாவது நடந்தா that can be considered as defection and immediately that person can be disqualified, immediate disqualifier. So speaker க்கு வேலையே தேவையில்ல அப்படின்ட்டு வந்து this author is saying. and allow re-entry only by election. So enna பண்ணுவாங்க, these people will defect and the speaker will not act on it and they will continue to remain as members. So அந்த problem இருக்கும். So இந்த author என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, immediate disqualification and allow re-entry only through election, and also do not allow ministerial appointment without. So according to the constitution, 6 months வந்து that person can be minister, right? The constitution says that 6 months வந்து அவங்க minister இருக்கலாம், அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து they can get elected to the house. This provision is there, right? So this author is saying that அந்த 6 months minister இருக்கிறதையும் விடாதீங்க, re-elect ஆயிட்டு தான் minister ஆகணும் அப்படின்னு. Because what will happen is, from this party they will jump to this party, the party who is wanting that person, they'll say நாங்க வந்து உங்களை 6 months minister ஆக்குறோம், you transfer to us, like that they will say. So 6 months ஆக்குறோங்கிறது வந்து, so that person will actually get disqualified, but 6 months he or she will be as minister and then they will participate in election and all that. So this person is saying, so 6 months ஆக்காதீங்க, first let them get re-elected, then you give the ministerial post. Okay, so and this is the thing. And the power to remove the speaker, I told you, right? Speaker can be removed by the majority of all members of the house. That is done under Article 179. Article number is 170. Okay, that is done under Article 179. So this is little bit with respect to speakers. Well, நம்ம ரொம்ப deeper போல, but since that editorial was there. Okay, so now the last one, India at risk of obesity epidemic. Okay, so this has been signaled by latest Lancet report. Latest Lancet report has said this. So Lancet report la enna vandu sollirukanga, it has been stated that 12.5 million children, okay, who are aged 5 to 19 years, these people are obese. And adla vandu 7 million boys and 5 million girls. 7 million boys, 5 million girls. 7.3 and 5.2. 7.3, 5. Yes. So you can see the gender disparity in this. Boys, child age group la ipdi irukku. Coming to adults, people who are greater than 20 years old. So in this age group, what is happening means, this one, 44 million women and 26 million men. So inge vandu there is a shift in the child, in the lower age group. Girls were less, obesity la vandu girls ratio kammi, boys jaasti irundhuchu. But in greater than 20 years old, if you look at that section of population, 44 million women and 26 million men, they are obese. So this is the data. This is the finding. And WHO, okay, they define obesity as an increased level of body fat, an increase, or you can even say abnormal or excessive, abnormal or an abnormal or excessive level of body fat. Okay, don't say this. An abnormal or excessive level of body fat, which poses health risk. Okay, this poses health risk. So this is the WHO definition of obesity. And Lancet report padi, we have this kind of a data. And okay. So why this is a problem means, okay, before we do that, there is something called as malnutrition. So malnutrition means nutrition it may be of two types. Okay, one is undernutrition and the other one is overnutrition. Okay, overnutrition, undernutrition. These are two types of malnutrition. And India has highest number of underweight girls in the world. India has the highest number of underweight girls in the world. That also we have. And just now we saw that obesity is also increasing. So malnutrition, India is having two kinds of problem. So this we can call as double burden. Okay, on one hand we have undernutrition and we have people of low weight. Okay, and the prachana or pakkom. Whereas overnutrition, obesity is rising. That is another side of the coin. So ரெண்டு malnutrition issues இப்போ இந்தியாவுக்கு இருக்கு. Okay, and in this, so can I rub this? So இதுல என்ன problem அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா, obesity it is an important cause of NCDs. NCD means non-communicable disease. Okay, non-communicable disease. So this includes cancer, cardiovascular, diabetes. Okay, so obesity increase ஆகுதுங்கும் போது அது நம்ம ஒரு small problem பார்க்க கூடாது, because the increase in obesity, now the numbers that we are having, we have 12.5 million children who are obese. Okay, in 1990 this level was only 0.4 million. Only 0.4 million children were obese, and இப்போ பார்த்தா it is 12.5 million. So this is in 2023. So this has been the level of increase in obesity. And obesity just obesity in ignore pannirakudadu. That in future can translate to cancer, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, hypertension, இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய problems வரும். And this can erode human capital. Okay, and the children especially, because children are affected, it is a huge matter of concern. They are actually the future of Okay, they are the future of India. Okay, so if they are affected, it is going to be very dangerous for the country, and especially because we are targeting at demographic dividend. So நம்மளோட human resource which we are aiming to grow big and develop and all that. So அந்த மாதிரி நடக்கணும்னு நினைக்கும் போது, if half of the people, if so much of the population is going to be in disease and all that, okay, when all this happens, it will affect human capital, and disease will affect productivity. So disease in the automatically productivity goes down, participation in work வந்து குறைஞ்சிரும். That will be GDP loss for the nation. Okay, அப்புறம் health expenditure ஏறும். So free of cost, poorer sections லாம் affect ஆச்சுன்னா, then we have to provide free of cost healthcare to the poor. So that will increase the burden for the nation. So wherein erodes human capital, productivity, yeah. So all this will happen. So this is a problem. Okay, so if children are affected, it means it can have huge ramifications for the country. So children affect ஆகுது, அவங்க health போறது, so you can say the life, happiness, prosperity, everything will be affected. Okay, so this is the issue, and analyzing why. So why are children obese? அதை analyze பண்ணி பார்க்கும்போது, it has been found that there is an increase in sedentary lifestyle. So the Lancet report has, quoted all this. Sedentary lifestyle increase ஆகுது, screen time. So they are going to school, coming back, doing homework. School they are sitting, they're not playing, coming back, doing homework again, sitting, physical activities reduced, screen time is increasing. So when they get free time, they go for all these TV and laptop and computer, mobile phones and all that. So sedentary activity is, lifestyle has become sedentary, physical activity வந்து குறைஞ்சிருச்சு. And then junk food intake. Junk food intake has increased. If you see processed food consumption, okay, processed food consumption வந்து, it is up. Processed food consumption up, and this pulses, cereals intake, that is actually down. So this was also stated in the HCES findings, right? So people's food habits are changing. Animal fats இன்னும் நிறைய எடுக்கிறாங்க. So that could also be a factor for obesity. That was also stated. Okay, more than people are now shifting to animal fat based diet. Okay, meat, protein, fish, all that consumption is also increasing. So for obesity in children, this is the main reason. Okay, sedentary lifestyle, junk food intake, and targeted advertisements. Yes. Targeted advertisements, and this is about children, why children are growing obese. And coming to the women, so can we change this? Women are more obese. 44 million women இருந்தாங்க, 26 million men இருந்தாங்க. So why? So again, the report has identified some reasons for women being obese. So அதுல அவங்க என்ன சொல்லிருக்காங்கன்னா, women not taking time for outdoor physical activity. So women என்ன பண்றாங்க, most of the times they are stuck with this domestic household work. The physical exercise பண்ணணும், that kind of an awareness is not there in them. Okay, that walking, like they do not do gym or not going to park. These kind of activities women are not doing. Men are doing more. That is why about 20 years age group, women 44 million women are obese, but only 26 million men are obese. So men are taking time for physical exercise, women are not taking. So that has been highlighted. And next is that prioritize nutrition of other family members. So healthy food allam matta family members kudutittu they are not eating well, and intake of low nutrition food. So because they are saving the best for their children or husband or something like that, okay, or other male members, this thing is happening. And then biological reasons. So in biological reasons, we have this pregnancy, menopause. So all these can also, make them obese. And then they have low awareness about obesity issues. So see, they might have dropped out of school, college போகாம இருந்திருப்பாங்க. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரிலாம் ரீசன்ஸ் இருக்கும். ஸோ அவ்வளவா அவங்களுக்கு அந்த ஒரு ஹெல்த் கான்ஷியஸ்னஸே இருக்காது. கான்ஷியஸ்னஸ் இருந்தால் தான் they will eat properly, they will exercise properly, but that itself will be lacking. Okay, so this is the problem with respect to women, or reasons why women are having more of obesity. And coming to this solutions part. So the proposed solutions are so there are advertisements which are targeted at kids. Kids வந்து சில products வாங்க வைக்கிறது மாதிரி some ad campaigns are there. So அதெல்லாம் வந்து regulate பண்ணணும். Okay, so regulating advertising, that can be one. Okay, so like you can maybe say children வந்து TV பார்க்குற டைம்ல வந்து those advertisements have to reduce. அந்த மாதிரி சொல்லலாம். 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock அவங்க ஸ்கூல் போயிட்டு வந்து டிவி பார்க்குறாங்கன்னா that time junk food advertisements should not be playing on television. So that kind of regulation you can have. And another thing is nutrition labeling. Okay, so ஏதாவது ஒரு processed food or any food item, so backside of the pack you see carbohydrate, fat, sugar, protein இந்த மாதிரி இருக்கு. So in Europe and all, what they do is they have a light signal, traffic signal system. அது எப்படின்னா சில இப்போ carbohydrates and fat, carbohydrate, sugar, fat, these kind of things they'll show in red. Okay, and yellow la வந்து carbohydrate, this will be in yellow. Green வந்து maybe protein, fiber, these kind of things will be in green. So European Union la வந்து food packaging norms la வந்து nutritional labeling, they have this traffic light system. So நம்மதுல வந்து plain எழுதி இருக்கும்ல, அவங்கதுல வந்து அந்த மாதிரி கலர் போட்டு எழுதிருப்பாங்க. ரெட்ல வந்து அதை ஹைலைட் பண்ணிருப்பாங்க, கிரீன்ல வந்து protein and fiber, so it will be highlighted like this. So undesirable components லாம் ரெட்ல இருக்கும். So ஒரு பேக்ல வந்து பின்னாடி பார்க்கும்போது you'll know that it has more of unwanted things. So accordingly it will subconsciously and the mental conditioning நடக்கும், people will eat more carefully. And there was also a proposal to bring nutrition based labeling in India, அதாவது ஸ்டார் ரேட்டிங். சில ஃபுட் வந்து 1 star 2 star 3 star 4 star 5 star ஒரு ஃபுட்டுக்கு வந்து ஸ்டார் ரேட்டிங் கொண்டு வரலாம்னு சொல்லி talks were going on. But then later on that idea was dropped because சில ஃபுட் வந்து see a cookie வந்து cookies, they have oil, they have sugar and all that. Okay, so அதாவது என்ன சொல்றது, இந்த yellow and red உள்ள items லாம் இருக்கு, but that cookie may have some amount of nuts போட்ட குக்கியா இருக்கலாம். So nuts போட்ட குக்கினா உடனே they will give 1 star or 2 star based on that fiber content and the nutrition value of the nut. But that is only a minuscule quantity. So அதுக்காக குக்கி நல்லதுன்னு நினைச்சு யாராவது வாங்கி சாப்பிட்டுருவாங்க because it has 1 star or 2 star. Okay, so it will create a wrong perception in people. அப்புறம் நார்மல் டயட்டுக்கு ரீப்ளேஸ் பண்ணிட்டு 5 star ஃபுட் மட்டும் வாங்கி சாப்பிடுறது. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி some bad habits may develop. So as of now it has been put on back burner. But இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு proposal இருந்துச்சு. And you can say in European Union this kind of a thing is there. This we can follow. This you can say. So regulated advertising, nutrition labeling, and Kerala actually has fat tax. Okay, on pizza, burger, junk food. Okay, so Kerala has fat tax. Other states can also introduce. And then it has also been stated that, and also some countries have this sugar tax. I'll see if I have the list of countries who have sugar tax. UK, France, and Hungary. Okay, yeah, sugar tax. So எந்த drinks சில soft drinks அதுலலாம் வந்து sugar நிறைய இருக்குல்ல. So UK, France. So on this Fanta, Miranda, 7-Up, these kind of things, we can also think of something called a sugar tax. So you can also say that this will also boost the state revenue. State-க்கு நிறைய இன்னும் GST-யும் கிடைக்கும். At the same time, it will also improve the health of the people. So that you can be stating. And something I was going to write here. Yeah, parents can ask children to do household work. So வீட்ல வந்து helping the parents, maybe cleaning the house, okay, arranging things, இந்த மாதிரி physical activities வந்து பண்ண சொல்லணும் after school அப்படின்னு சொல்லி the report itself has stated. Yes, and school college curriculum on nutrition. So if they give special emphasis, so nutrition and the மாதிரி areasல வந்து chapters வச்சு repeated emphasize பண்ணிட்டே இருந்தா that mental conditioning will happen, consciousness will be there. Okay, children will be more எப்படி சாப்பிடணும் அப்படிங்கிறது தான் உங்களுக்கு தெரியும். So these are the solutions actually. Junk food ad. Yeah, that's it. Okay, and you can say and the promoting physical activity இதுக்கு நம்ம வந்து to promote physical activity we had something called as Fit India campaign. So this was done to promote physical activity in the school children and all that. And the FSI, okay, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, they started a movement called as Eat Right India movement. So these kind of things. So these can be popularized more. Okay, Fit India campaign, Eat Right India movement. So all this will bring up mental consciousness, behavior change. So eating habits will change for the better. So obesity-ங்கிறது வந்து நம்ம just normal fat people-ன்னு பார்க்காம we should see the long-term ramifications of it. So இவ்வளோ serious NCDs can come about, diabetes, heart disease and all that. So இதெல்லாம் வந்து it's not at all good for the nation. So it is important to act immediately and take corrective measures. Okay, so that's why these measures. So that's all. So we are done with this week. Okay, we'll meet next week. Like